All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our presentation. My name is Bob Hayhurst. With me is Kamil Piekatowski, and we are presenting about Python today, specifically lambda expressions versus list comprehension in Python. Lambda expressions we are familiar with as a class. List comprehension is something new. It's a death match. One of these is better than the other, and we will try and convince you which one is which. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I have here an integrated design environment called PyCharm. We are coding in the latest version 3.4.0. Now, there's a reason I decided to do this, and Camille decided to do this in an IDE as opposed to just using the command line. We could have used the command line, but we wanted IntelliSense because neither him nor I have ever coded at all in Python. We're noobs. We wanted something to give us hints when we messed up, or hints at what functions to use. Second of all, I wanted to show the class JetBrains IDE. They make a C IDE and a Java IDE, which is my favorite, and a Python IDE. They're very well regarded, and people around here don't really seem to be familiar with them. So I just wanted to show that. In any case, Python has what's called a read, evaluate, print loop, a REPL, and it's a really sandboxy type of environment. You put in a line of code, and you hit enter, and it compiles it right then and there. So, for example, there, we just did an entire program. What we are going to do today is I'm going to give you an example. It's going to be the same type, same function. We're going to do it in a for loop. We're going to do it in a lambda expression, and we're going to do it in a list comprehension. And we will, of course, explain what a list comprehension is. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. First, we will declare an object. Python is not strongly typed, so S, which stands for squares, is going to be equal this thing. It's going to be a list. Python is just going to know that, being that it infers it. And here is a for loop in Python. For x in range of 10, so we're going to go for all the non-negative first 10 non-negative integers, that's 0 through 9, we are going to say s.append x squared. So what this means is we are going to square the first 10 non-negative integers, and we are going to put it into this object called s. So we have now done so. A thing about Python is that its scope is done using indentation. So right now the blinky blinky is still in the for loop. If we backpedal here, we are no longer in the for loop. So if I print s, lo and behold, it prints out the list. 9 times 9 is 81, 5 times 5 is 25, etc. So great, that's a simple function using a for loop in Python. Yippee! So let's move on to lambda expressions. This is a lambda. Unless you're a video game player, it might mean something else. As we have been using them all semester, we know that lambda expressions are function definitions that are not bound to an identifier. What that means is if you have a quick function that maybe does something to a list or an array, and you're only going to use it once, and you can throw it away afterwards, the lambda expression is your man. It goes right into the line, and you can throw it away afterwards. So let's do an example of a lambda expression in Python. So this time we're going to say s equals, and we're going to use the map function and lambda. To do a lambda expression, you literally write the word random. So for every x, we're going to square it, and we're going to do it in the range of 10. Map takes two arguments, the function and the range. So the function is a lambda expression in this case. So there we go. So then if I print s, being that Python is not strongly typed, it should print out the list. However, it's not going to work. Notice we get some gobbledygook there, and why is that? I just said it was strongly typed. One would think it would work. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we're using the latest version, 3.4.0. This is an example of the first blow, by the way, for list comprehension. The guy who wrote Python, Guido van Rossum, an Italian vampire, the latest version, he didn't want to include the functions map, nor reduce, nor filter, because list comprehension, which we will see what that is, does all of these things perfectly. And he said he was going to do that, but there was a lot of blowback from the community. Nobody wants change. It's scary, scary stuff. So he left him in. However, One change he did make is that map no longer returns a list object like it used to. It returns an iterator. So here we were attempting to print an iterator. Not going to work. There are ways around this. The best way is to do a list. Do a list comprehension, which we will show you what that is. The other way is to simply append. I'm sorry, typecast the entire expression to a list. So now if we print s, it'll work. So, okay, so that's a lambda expression. We're going to do this final expression in a list comprehension. I'm just going to show it. I'm not going to explain it. I'm going to let Kamil do that. But it makes so much sense that it almost documents itself. X squared for x in range of 10. That is an example of a list comprehension, and if we print s, bada bing, it works. That is a list comprehension, and here to explain it in further detail is one Kamil.
Thank you, Bob. Hello, everybody. So I'm gonna take it from here. So as Bob showed you how the lambda expression works here, and the list comprehension, I'm gonna explain what it is. So in this slide, as we could see, we see a mathematical notation of a set that's in the range of 0 to 9, and it's a square number of all those elements in that set. As you can see, in Python code, the list comprehension looks almost the same. So the transition between one another is really quick. So let me show you another example. I'm going to take the all elements from S, and I'm going to take only even numbers from that set. So let's go to console and let's type in some code. So my set M would equal to x for all x's in set S if only if x mod 2 equals to 0. So if we hit enter and if we print M, you could see it's all even numbers, and as you could see, it's pretty straightforward. It looks almost the same. Another example I want to show you, it's a sieve of Eratosthenes, and it's an algorithm that generates all prime numbers. If you want to learn more about this, there's a nice Wikipedia explanation. Just gonna take a quick shot at it. So basically what we do, we generate all numbers that are divisible by the numbers between 2 and 8, and we take a complement of it. So I have a code that's already written, prepared for this presentation. Basically, I have a lambda expression version of it. I use a for loop as well to generate the not prime numbers, and then I use exclusive OR to eliminate those elements in the set I do not want, which is not prime numbers. So I'm just taking the complement of it. So when I run this code, when I hit, there you go. Here's you have all prime numbers in the range of 2 and 50. So as you could see, there's like a bunch of lines of code. It doesn't really look like our mathematical notation or anything. It just simply code. So if you're a scientist, mathematician, the transition might be like a little bit harsh. So the list comprehension version is much simpler. It's 2 lines of code and does pretty much, let me just show you, coming it out, it does pretty much the same thing in 2 lines. So it's pretty simple. If you get used to it, you could just use it really fast. And I believe me and Bob both agreed that list comprehension beats lambda expression big time, and I hope you agree with us. And I do hope you guys enjoyed this presentation of Python, and have a good one.